Boredom can be your greatest weapon. Let me explain why. It's not new information that in this era of social media, we're constantly just entertained, constantly distracted. That's just how the world works now, and we all relate to that one way or another. But the thing about being constantly distracted is it's very limiting. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty guilty about waking up in the morning and picking up my phone first thing. So I'm no stranger to this epidemic. I don't even know if you can call it epidemic anymore. It's just like so normal. Let me tell you 4 ways to use boredom to your advantage and use it to help you achieve whatever you're pursuing. Number 1, most of the results that you want comes from the most boring work. So let's say you want to start a business. There's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of getting it registered, the most mundane stuff, even like setting up your website or doing outreach. These are really unsexy, necessary work that you need to go through. And if you're constantly distracted and your dopamine receptors are just fried, like you constantly need to be mentally stimulated, you're not gonna get any of those things done. One other example is I'm a musician, play the guitar, and a lot of the things that I need to do to improve is practice the fundamentals. And honestly, it's one of the most boring fucking thing to do. You're just repeating stuff and trying to get the same things better. I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes practice watching TV, kind of like bundling those habits up. But there are a lot of mental exercises that I need to do. Studying theory, memorizing the fretboard, the notes in the fretboard. A lot of just mental stuff that I know will make a difference from my playing. And for those kind of exercises, I need to really dial in and just like not have any distractions for like 30 minutes to an hour. When you want to get better, most of the time, it's the most mundane things that you need to do to progress. Next is it helps you regulate your emotions. Obviously, as humans, emotions is part of our daily lives. Just how we function, obviously. How we communicate. But also it affects everything, especially how we operate. When you're constantly distracted and you're constantly engaged into watching content or just being in your phone, social media, it's actually hard for your emotions to process your recent situation, and you end up having this kind of emotional debt. Let me explain that a little further. During caveman times, or even just during the times where phones didn't really exist or social media didn't really exist, when you experience something throughout your day, your emotions can grasp it, can regulate it, and you just have the bandwidth to process it more, to process these events as they come. But now with social media and how we're constantly distracted, we actually don't get to process things the way we used to. So there's this report that I've came across where like people are actually ending their day, like once they get off their phone and they try to sleep, they get bombarded by these emotions that they haven't processed throughout the day. And I'm guessing this is why a lot of us experience insomnia and why we doom scroll in bed. It's not the whole reason, but I think it's part of it. And that's something that I personally experienced too. When you're in bed all day scrolling, and you finally get off, you feel these kind of emotions kind of creep back into you. And it's actually pretty scary. So what tends to happen is we just let our phones play white noise till we fall asleep. So obviously, getting your screen time down and doing habits that get you more mindful and gets you more present will help you remedy this. And that connects to my next point, which is the 4 main habits of self-improvement. Credit to Hamza. The 4 main habits to improve your mindfulness, to improve your attention span, and overall just the best self-improvement habits to get better every day. And that's exercise, journaling, meditation, reading. And I'll focus on how they can get you mindful. So meditation, obviously, it helps you focus on the present moment. It's actually pretty hard to do the first sessions that you try it. But after a week or 2 of doing it every day, even just like 5-10 minutes a day, or even just like taking 6 mindful breaths, you'll notice that you'll have a lot more grasp on your focus, so you're not easily distracted. Or you could get distracted, but it's easy for you to kind of like pull yourself back to focus, especially when you open any of the apps. I know we go through this a lot where you open the app for one reason and then you get distracted right when you open your app. The more you meditate, the more power you have to kind of just like, just like grab your attention back and go do what you wanted to do, the reason why you opened the app. And overall, it just helps you be present and stay present throughout life. You'll just have more mental bandwidth for the things that you want to do or you need to do. Your conversations with people will get better because you're just focused, you're mindful, you're actually listening. The next is journaling. For me, I start off with gratitude journals. And this is the key. You need to journal with pen and paper and not through your phone. And here's why. When you're writing pen and paper, you're actually slowing down. Manually writing is obviously a lot slower than typing. So the challenge is kind of like being patient with yourself. You're writing your thoughts down, and what for sure is gonna happen is your thoughts are gonna be way faster than your hand. So you're gonna have to be patient, and your brain is gonna be forced to slow down and just process your thoughts while you're writing. This is also gonna be a little bit frustrating at first, but the more you do it, the more you'll have just focus. And one thing about journaling as well is it's a great tool to use for processing your emotions. So start it off by writing 3 things that you're grateful for in life. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for the life I have. Just be grateful, and then write whatever the fuck you want. My journals are sometimes filled with rage, but mostly it's like plans and my desires, the achievements I want, or like the person I want to be. And the next is exercise. I think this one is pretty obvious. When you exercise, when you work out, you're just a lot more calmer afterwards. You get filled with this feel-good hormone, and you can overall just like chill. I think anyone who exercises knows this feeling. And overall, it just makes everything else easier to do. I personally do lifts every morning, but a workout that's really great for mindfulness is walking. Go try to walk 5,000 to 10,000 steps without listening to music or podcasts or anything. Just soak in the moment, hear the wind, hear grass, and just like nature and stuff. And after 15 or 20 minutes, you're for sure gonna be way more mindful than when you started. And last but not least is reading books. You can read whatever you want. I personally read nonfiction. And when you first start reading, especially when you've been constantly doom scrolling, it's gonna be hard to actually read. You're gonna be rereading sentences. You're gonna be slow at comprehending what you're reading. It's gonna be a little bit frustrating as well. But it's one of those things where you're having a double benefit of you're learning something new, and at the same time, you're kind of getting your mindfulness back. And for sure, your attention span is gonna improve a whole lot when you do this consistently. And last but not least, when you get bored and you stack all of these things that I've mentioned throughout this video, and you've been doing the hard tasks, you've been doing the mundane work, and you keep your emotions regulated, you've been exercising, journaling, reading, meditating every day, even if you're just doing the most minimum volume of those things, but you're doing it consistently every day, you feel a lot more capable of anything that you actually set your mind to. Because now that you know you have the range, now that you know that you can do the nitty-gritty work required to pursue a career, study for an exam, or like start a business, write songs, create art, or create films, whatever you want really, you'll build a very solid fundamental of just your process of working. And from that point, it's really up to you what you use it on. But being in that mental state alone already puts you ahead of a lot of people. And you know the most interesting thing about doing this is after a while when you've been staying bored and keeping your dopamine receptors healthy, is this shit actually becomes fun, bro. You're actually enjoying the mundane things because you know it's progressing you to a new height that you've never been before. So go try it in whatever you're trying to pursue. If you're still here at the end of this video, thank you. Like, share, comment, subscribe. That's all for today. Always remember, 1 is always better than 0. Peace.